Welcome back to Opinion Journal Live. I'm Jason Riley. The city of San Bernardino, California, became the third city in California this week who has announced that they were going to file for bankruptcy. The third city in the state, I should say, in the past 2 weeks to make such a declaration. And here to talk about what is going on is OpinionJournal.com assistant editor Allysia Finley. Welcome, Allysia.
Thank you.
So what is going on here? Is there a common thread among these cities who are filing for bankruptcy out in California?
Well, what you've seen in at least Stockton and San Bernardino is the labor costs have just exploded in recent years.
Okay.
Partly due to pension payments, partly due to retiree health care, and just overall compensation.
Okay. So we're talking about in San Bernardino, a city of 200,000 people that ran out of money to pay vendors and workers. This is poor political management?
I think these problems have been building over the years, obviously because of these collective bargaining agreements, which usually are for about 5 years, 4 or 5 years. This one currently will expire this year, but after that, the costs are actually expected to increase.
Well, you mentioned the collective bargaining agreements. In the Wall Street Journal's editorial today, it said that San Bernardino is a city where public safety officers used to be able to retire at 50 with 90%.
This is actually
of their
very
benefits.
typical in California.
Of their salary, I should say.
In California, that's almost all state. The ones who have been grandfathered in can retire at 50 with 90. I mean, so long as they've worked for, 30 years.
But these overly generous collective bargaining agreements for public sector workers is what has gotten these cities into trouble. So people who want to say, oh, it's the recent recession, aren't telling the whole truth. These problems have been building for some time.
In fact, in many cities, revenues are up or are increasing. The problem is that the benefits are continuing to increase at faster rates.
Okay. Is there going to be any upside to this bankruptcy for these cities in terms of being able to get a fresh start?
Well, they'll be able to renegotiate and restructure a lot of their labor agreements and break them, essentially. As for pensions, they probably won't be able to change the pension benefits for current workers. They'll probably only be able to restructure those for new workers.
Okay. So we mentioned the size of San Bernardino. It's not a huge city, but it's a problem that huge cities like Detroit or Los Angeles could be looking at if they don't get their act together, correct?
I think that's right. I mean, I think you're going to see something similar play out in LA in a couple of years. That things are just, I mean, they have very similar budget problems with public safety consuming a disproportionate amount of the tax revenues, and a lot of that money going to retiree and pension costs. Cities throughout the country are obviously facing this.
Okay. Do you see any recognition on the part of public sector unions when they look at what is playing out in some of these smaller cities? Oh, this problem could be coming our way if we don't give a little.
For the most part, not. I think the one place where you have seen it is in Rhode Island, where you did actually get some pension reform on the state level, and in Providence recently, in May or something like that, where they actually agreed to these changes. But that was because Central Falls last year had gone bankrupt, and they actually cut pensions in Central Falls.